in 1956. And we continue to see what a profound contribution women make in society today. I would like to leave you with a quotation from the Baha'i writings to hopefully inspire you to continue to strive for excellence and, like those women 70 years ago, to make your mark on the world. Love is a light that never dwelleth in a heart possessed by fear. Thank you. Happy Women's Month.
Sarah Baartman should never have been stripped of her native, her Khoisan, her African identity, and paraded in Europe as a savage monstrosity.
Yes, ne ke kwatile ha ne ke etsa that play. Ne ke kwatile ke kwatetse what my experience as a child experienced as Sarah Baartman.
We couldn't actually believe that a store in South Africa in the 21st century would put these statues of Sarah Baartman on sale. I worked as a journalist for about 10 years, and in that time I was very privileged in that, like Steve Biko, I got to write what I like. I was very, very lucky in that I had fantastic editors who allowed me free rein. My beat was mostly culture and gender.
Most people know me as a poet and a playwright.
I joined the Department of Foreign Affairs. I remember I was part of the International Department of the ANC in my capacity as a representative of the ANC in the IITF. It was easy for me to be integrated in Foreign Affairs, although we underwent some rigorous training.
Igama lami nguZola Maseko, born and bred in exile. In the African National Congress. I studied filmmaking at the National Film and Television School in London.
Before I left for France, I consulted widely on the issues that I was expected to pursue on behalf of this government. So I had to work hard to put the relations on a higher pedestal.
I first heard about Sarah Baartman when I was doing research for my master's thesis. I did my master's degree on Winnie Mandela. And I was looking at Winnie Mandela as an icon, how she was built up as an icon, and then how she was destroyed as an icon. And what happened was when I finished my master's, I came back to South Africa. And a couple of months after that, a filmmaker had heard about, this feminist, blah, blah, blah. And he contacted me to see if I would be interested in working on a film on Sarah Baartman. And that was when I said, absolutely.
Kusho istori Sarah Baartman ngasithola vele ngisafunda eLondon. Bekhona enye series BBC bayibiza Black and White in Color. And then angithi ngibhekile le documentary bamenshina ukuthi bekhona intombazana ebizwa uSarah Baartman eyasuka eCape Town yaya eLondon in 1810. Mangenzi research mina bengicabanga ukuthi ngizothola istory saka Sarah Baartman sibhaliwe somewhere sonke. either in books or film or whatever.
She was a Khoi woman who'd obviously been fathered by a Dutchman, because she was very obviously Khoi, but she had these big blue eyes. Now, where would she have gotten blue eyes from? And my mother had always spoken about her. All we knew about her was that she was a slave, she wasn't educated, and she spoke Dutch.
She was a domestic worker. Told her, you know, let's go UK, you're gonna work and make more money.
It looks as if Sarah was first taken from South Africa to England, not necessarily to France directly. She was taken from South Africa by an English person to England to be displayed there, like you display an artifact.
Bamfake cage ukuthi abantu bazombona angcono. Kwaba ne court case enkulu eLondon. Bekhona ezinye ingamla ezi-progressive ezathi no, and you can't treat another human being like this, nimfake a cage angcono abanye abantu bazombona as a freak.
She was a freak show. Men paid to go and watch her. White men went to watch her, and white women didn't like it.
When she arrived in England, she never lived a normal life.
What upset me the most was the defensiveness from white South Africans around it, who wanted to draw a parallel between Sarah Baartman and a modern-day Naomi Campbell, saying, well, you know, you've got to think of it in the context of, imagine Naomi Campbell going around the world. And I think, for me, that what outraged me the most was the fact that there was no consent.
Abelungu at that time, bebanale obsession ngabantu abamnyama, and the obsession yakhona yaka Sarah in particular, bekuyibungu zakhe.
That's how, you know, these corsets, she's the one who influenced fashion. That's how far it went, because white women, because their husbands were running to go and look at this woman, white women were like, okay, fine, so we need to have a bit of a bum, we need to have a bit of a small waist. I mean, that was her body. So she also influenced the corset and your, you know, Victorian kind of style of fashion.
There was no choice. She didn't have a passport and say, hey guys, I'm going off to London to go and find my fortune. She was taken, she was trafficked. It was an early example of trafficking.
After the court case lena, lengamla eyamthatha lana lebhunu lamthatha la eSouth Africa, bekuyi slave master, belim owner. Labona ukuthi hey into sesiyaduma eLondon. Basuke eLondon baye ku Manchester, bafike bambaptize eManchester. But nakhona, because of the scandal, the court case, ishow yakhe bengekho popular. Wamthatha wamisa France. She came under the attention of very, very serious scientists. Napoleon's Surgeon General, a man called Georges Cuvier.
There's no acknowledgement of the fact that this woman had no consent. She was traded from the farmers who found her here. She was traded to London. She was then traded on to Paris.
Across 26 municipalities, Kasi to Kasi goes where local government meets the people.
From basic services and human dignity to jobs, housing, safety, democracy, and community participation, Kasi to Kasi follows the good, the bad, and the urgent work of building better municipalities.
Kasi to Kasi, Sunday at 8, SABC2.
What makes a woman truly powerful in today's world? I think not much beats being yourself. I feel like we were all put here on this earth with different talents, with different passions, with different missions. To achieve certain things, wena yourself. And as long as you stay true to who you are, stay true to what you love, push for your dreams, that is how you make an impact.
New on 2.
South Africa, are you ready? A brand new show is coming your way, and trust me, you've never seen conversations this flavorful. Nonaga. Simmer down, starting Saturday the 15th of August. Join myself, Chef Mule, with some of your favorite stars who will be stepping out of the spotlight and into my kitchen.
Love.
You are our fire and our for laughs, stories, music, meals made with love. From icons and hitmakers to legends and rising stars, every episode serves up real, unexpected moments and the kind of conversations that stay with you long after desserts. It's delicious. It's proudly South African. There's a seat waiting for you at my table.
Simmer Down, Saturday, 15 August, SABC 2.
I don't want to victimize her, but I think that people didn't realize that she was a human being. She came from a people. There were people that missed her when she left. There were people that yearned for her, and she yearned for people. She was a human being. And I think that was the thing that upset me the most when I first started working on it, is there was this unwillingness to see her as a human being and just wanting to see her as an object.
Kanti mo-check South African the society bekaphuma kuyo. She was just a normal girl. And then bekhona something futhi ngama-private parts wakhe. And befuna ku-investigate ukuthi kahle kahle yini ngalama-private parts. They spent 3 days bampopola. Books were written on their findings on Sarah Baartman.
She was constantly being objectified.
Sarah Baartman bamcompare ne orangutan, and they compared her ukuthi when female orangutans have menstrual cycles, they have the same kind of, their buttocks also expand, just like the Hottentot woman.
Somebody like Sarah Baartman reflected that fascination with this idea that she is a kind of on the stage to evolving to become properly human that is white. So she reflects that kind of mistaken thinking around evolution and people in society. So I think there was that people were looking at her as some kind of prehistoric human being.
The so-called scientific research became a basis for a scientific racism.
It was spring in Paris, and I went to the Jardin des Plantes, which was the place where she had been, sort of walking around in whatever in Paris. It was springtime, and I was freezing, okay? And I was dressed, fully dressed, with a coat on. She was walking around, being displayed to Cuvier and scientists in skins. The irony is she was living with a leading scientist, and yet he didn't know what she died of. It's not in his autopsy report, which he presented to the most eminent scientists in Paris, goes into length about her anatomy, but there's nothing in it about what actually caused her death.
They decided to dissect her body and put it in the museum, National History Museum. In that museum, when I visited it for the first time, I saw so many skulls of dead people from all over the world.
I will never forget the chills that went through my spine when we walked into that. It was this room that was absolutely vast, and there were just rows and rows and rows and rows of human remains. She was exhibited in the Musée de l'Homme till I think the early 80s. Her body was exhibited, the cast and her genitals were exhibited in the museum.
Amakhoi who ukuthi bebayiphusha le ndaba yaka Sarah Baartman. kusho ukuthi bona as a indigenous group bebakhuluma directly ne-French government ukuthi babuyise uSarah. I-South African government yathi ke yazini angeke kube grand ukuthi niyiphushe lento lena as an indigenous group.
The person who led the negotiations was the Professor Emeritus, Professor Philip Tobias at Wits University. It started with Nelson Mandela and went on under Thabo Mbeki. Bridget Mabandla, as the Minister of Arts and Culture, took it up. Tutukile Skweyiya.
It was not easy. There was resistance from the side of the French people, especially the civil servants.
First, they lied about the remains and said that they had been destroyed in a fire. And that's on record. If you look at The Life and Times of Sarah Baartman, which was the first documentary made by Zola Maseko, you see Andre Langenan, I can't pronounce, he's got a French surname, talking about how they had been destroyed in a fire, that they didn't actually exist. So of course the French didn't want to give them back.
But I was very clear about one thing, that those remains will one day go back to South Africa.
I had worked on the first documentary with Zola. I did the research for that first documentary with him, so I'd worked quite closely with it. And he always said, she's going to come home. And I always said to him, she's never going to come home. Why are you so sure? He was absolutely sure.
Lama remains bebawathatha as some kind of a trophy of conquered people. That's the way I born and
It took another year before there was serious movement from the side of the French government. But I kept on knocking on their doors. I kept on knocking on their doors. And I became a nuisance, I think. There was going to be a state visit of our president to France. That was a big opportunity for me. I used that. I said, if this doesn't happen, then the state visit is not going to take place. And they realized that I meant business. Eventually, they gave us a date that, okay, we will agree, we will be able to get the remains. I contacted Deputy Minister again, Bridget Mabandla, so that on this particular day that she comes. I invited quite a number of African ambassadors who were based in France.
We filmed the actual packing up of her remains. We actually saw them taking her brain, you know, in this glass jar, and her genitals. It was done with absolute clinical precision.
Umaisebuya wafakwe a special coffin, which the French had built for us, which was big enough to be able to accommodate all her remains.
Oh my goodness, I'll never forget it. As the body went up into the plane, we were all just standing there. I mean, I think all of us had tears in our eyes that this moment had finally arrived, you know. It was the most surreal, wonderful, incredible, life-altering moment for me, to be involved in something so huge.
When he arrived here in South Africa, Minister Ngubane, who was the then Minister of Arts and Culture, also took over and got involved. And of course, the Deputy Minister Mabandla was also there.
The government conducted a committee. I represent ama Khoisan, I'm a representative of my Khoisan government, Professor Philip Tobias. But decided it was on.
I was absolutely at the funeral. It was on the 9th of August. Thabo Mbeki delivered one of the most beautiful speeches ever.
Sarah Baartman should never have been transported to Europe. Sarah Baartman should never have been robbed of her name and relabeled Sarah Baartman. Sarah Baartman should never have been stripped of her native, her Khoisan, her African identity, and paraded in Europe as a savage monstrosity.
Her remains are buried in the Cape.
Decision was taken ukuthi bazomfihla eHanki.
It's among her people. That's where they believe she originates from.
Shalom from the South African Jewish community. This month, we are blessed to celebrate Women's Month. We mark the day where over 20,000 women marched to the Union buildings and changed the course of our country's history. Throughout Jewish history, we have seen that different women have shaped our story as a Jewish people. From Sarah, who taught us about faith, to Rebecca, who taught us that courageous decisions shape future generations, to Esther, who sacrificed her life for her people, to Devorah, who was a prophet, a judge, and a state leader. Each woman led in their own way, their own space, with their own values. And that diversity is what was able to create a Jewish people led by women. Judaism teaches us that in times of remembrance, we don't just look back on the past, but we take the lessons of our past to guide our future. And so this Women's Month, let us honor all those women who lead us, whether it be in their families, in their homes, in their synagogues or churches, communities and villages, corporates, organizations and NGOs, governments, and lastly, our country. May we never underestimate the power of women, her convictions, and her ability to change the course of history. When women lead, people rise. This month, I wish you a happy Women's Month from the South African Jewish Board of Deputies. May we raise our women in our country to lead us to a better future.
I must say this also opened the way for other African countries. We discovered that many other African countries have got artifacts, have got human remains, and many other things that were taken by force from their countries to some museums in Europe. I know that, for example, my colleague from Nigeria, he also started approaching the French about some cultural artifacts that were stored in some museum in France. We are just hoping that one day Africa will start a movement to demand that all these things must come back where they belong.
Colonial hangover happened when I went out for lunch with two of my closest friends, Pumla Dineo Gwala and Michelle Reiters, three black South African feminists. And then we went for a spot of shopping at the space. And they wandering around looking at the designers, the clothes. I'm looking at the household items. And then I see the statue of Sarah Baartman, about that size, like a whole row of them on sale for 850 Rand. And I'm standing there thinking, have I lost my mind? Is this real? Is this really happening? So I called Pumla and Michelle. I said, come and look at this. And the three of us literally were standing there like having a goldfish moment. We couldn't actually believe that a store in South Africa in the 21st century would put these statues of Sarah Baartman on sale. The sheer insensitivity. I was just horrified. And because I am a writer, I went back and I wrote something about it. That's how colonial hangover came about. I felt very, very strongly that she was being commodified and sold and paraded all over again.
I had a meeting with Brajon. Brajon said, did you know or have you ever heard of Sarki Baartman? I'm like, who? Okay, Hottentot Venus. I'm like, who? Okay, listen here. This is the name. Sarki Baartman. Go and make research. Once you are done with the research and once you have enough material, Write whatever comes. Don't block yourself. Write whatever you want in response to what happened to this woman, because your experience and this woman's experience are so similar. Even if it's cross-generation, even if it's cross-centuries. Check the internet, you know, any article that I could find, I analyze the book. I spoke to different black women across the world, from African American descendant to diaspora, from Dutch Surinamese to African women to South African women, my friends in the industry, journalists, writers. I went wild. Filmmakers, producers, like anyone that I could get hold of from my community to across the globe. My Bami's genetic deal with it was born, and I've never looked back. And I had to do it alone. It had to be the story about Napo, but reflecting back and connecting to Sally Batman.
Napo's play, I think, also came from a space of pain, and I think that is what white South Africans don't realize. When you are a black South African woman with a big ass, they don't realize how you get objectified, how by virtue of having a piece of your anatomy that you can do nothing about, white men think that you're sexually available, they think they can touch you, they think they can talk about you because your nyash is representative of something which in their minds makes you look like you are hypersexual.
Yes, that play. What my experience as a child, experience that's like Batman.
There are many African women around the world, in Africa and the diaspora, who have had that experience where there's an assumption that because you are a woman with a big bum that you're sexually available, that people can touch you, talk about you, and basically intrude your bodily space.
I think generally what Sarah Baartman represents across for women, and as you said, putting aside race for a moment, is the manner in which we first become defined by our bodies and what we look like, and in particular our sexual characteristics. That's what defines us first, and our humanity, our thinking, our emotions second. So I think that is what Sarah Baartman represents in a very extreme kind of form. And I mean, you will still see it today in the way people, when they talk about women, if you look at a lot of advertising, you don't see a picture of a full woman, you see a picture of a woman's buttocks, or a picture that focuses on her breasts. So you don't see a full human being, you see a body part.
This is why we wanted to make sure that this government respects the rights of women, respects the dignity of women. The dignity of Sarah and the people of South Africa, but more especially her people, was restored the day we were able to bring the remains back to South Africa.
I think as an African, it was a real moment as well. It was really a case of the empire strikes back.
Ek en my pelle ons reël hier kultuuraande en vanaand is dit by my plek.
Potluck Club. Ek bring my stukkie kultuur.
Ja, ek sien uit daarna.
Ek is kosstylus en chef Caro Alberts en my missie is om jou te help om mooi en lekker te maak met min of baie.
My koskins. Oh, it like amazing. Ek dis nou hulle kos op en later gaan hulle vir my kultuur op dis. Dan gaan die kom.
Koskaskanadas. Saturday on 2.
Asisebenze makhelwane, asisebenze
It changes a very good thing. Ingasabi, please. We are moving from 8 o'clock to 8:30.